Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. It's Paulie Esther here and welcome to another episode of How Wrong Can Paulie Be About the teaser for the new chapter. So a lot of people think that I, as a fog whisperer, have all the inside information, all the answers about what is going on, what's going to come out in the next DLCs, all the new content. But I don't. I don't have any more information than all of you do. I think Behavior probably thinks there's a reason why Paulie doesn't work at Chipotle because he spills all the beans. So I don't have any inside information. As far as I know, none of the Fog Whisperers know anything about the new chapter. And if they had given me information, there has been discussion about possibly having to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And once I reach that point, clearly I'm not going to be able to tell you guys anything. That hasn't happened. I don't know anything. So, if the NDA day ever does come, obviously I'm going to be very respectful of the agreement because I have to be. And I won't ever tell you anything I'm not supposed to. But for today, I don't know anything, so this is all just throwing spaghetti at the wall and see if anything sticks. So, today, Dead by Daylight put out this tweet right here, which says, "In a time of darkness, some look for a light to follow. Hashtag Dead by Daylight," with this image. So this is the first teaser. We may get another teaser before the PTB. My expectation is probably what's going to happen is the Bicycle Messenger Dwight cosmetic will drop tomorrow. There'll be a dev stream on Thursday, maybe accompanied with another teaser. And I anticipate the PTB will come out on Tuesday, March 5th, question mark. If it follows along a similar timeline to when we saw the Legion DLC teasers, I think we got the first image about 6 days before the PTB for that chapter. PTB, again, for those who don't know, is public test build, in which people who are playing on PC can test out the new content approximately 2 weeks early before the full release of the chapter on all platforms. So I'm anticipating that the public test build will come out on March the 5th. So first off, let's talk about the one thing that we do have a glimmer of information from the devs themselves in the form of Dave Richard, where he made this statement here.
Actually, spoiler, for chapter 11, we're actually, if everything goes to plan, introduce our killer that is the furthest in the past. By a long shot.
That's crazy.
So that clip comes from quite a while ago, actually. I think that was before even the Hallowed Blight came out. Can't remember exactly, but it was before we even had chapter 10, and Dave was already talking about chapter 11. So what sparked that conversation was Matthew said, someone's pointing out that the nurse is probably from the oldest era of time period. And then Dave corrected and said, no, actually the Huntress is the oldest, coming from the World War I era. And it says she's our oldest in time character, talking about the Huntress. And then he goes on to say, spoiler for chapter 11, we're introducing our killer that's from the furthest time in the past by a long shot. So what does by a long shot mean? So we're looking at the 1910s for the Huntress. By a long shot, we're probably talking about centuries, right? So, now we'll return to our image that we got today. Okay, so first impressions when I look at this image, it instantly gave me an Egyptian and Indiana Jones vibe with the light coming in, and it even talks about light, and it really reminded me of the scene where Indiana Jones gets the Staff of Ra and puts it in, and the beam of light comes through and reveals everything, and I was like, oh my god, look at this light. And then McLean had said something like, why is no one talking about the Survivor? I think the Survivor looks pretty cool. And then I thought, whoa, what if they flipped the script and actually the licensed character in this instance is the Survivor and not the killer, and we had Indiana Jones as a relic hunter survivor in the game, like the inner child in me thinking about playing as Indiana Jones, vaulting over stuff and running away from killers. Just, it makes me giddy. but it's probably not that. So as much as I would love to have Indiana Jones, and I think it would just blow everybody's mind if they went in that direction, I imagine that's probably an incredibly difficult license to obtain, and most likely won't happen, but it would make me so happy. So then I said, okay, well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty in this image. So when I first look at the image, even putting aside the whole Indiana Jones theory, I still spoke Egyptian to me, and I thought, oh, they went in this direction where we're going to have like a temple map, and it's going to be sand and Egyptian, and this is going to be so cool. And I'm like, oh, yeah, for sure. Here we go. It's going to be a bang mummy. But then once I look closer at some of the elements of the actual architecture, the longer I looked at it, the less that it spoke to me as being an ancient civilization. While I know that we are going on this statement saying the oldest killer from the oldest time period by a long shot, I don't think we're looking at anything that is in BC or possibly even earlier than the year 1000. So this one statement in here that says about the light, how is it worded exactly? In a time of darkness, some look for a light to follow. So is this like in the Age of Enlightenment, the Renaissance, coming out of the Dark Ages? It seems to really have a religious theme to me, and where I'm getting that from is from, if you look closely, you'll see these cherubs all around the archway here, and the idea of a carved angel is more of a modern one. It doesn't go back to the times of ancient Greece, ancient Romans. Angel just means messenger. It's more of a Judeo-Christian idea to carve wings on to beings as angels. So I'm thinking that we're looking at possibly a Renaissance period time at the latest, maybe 1300s, as far back as I would go on this. And so what is this thing in the middle that's being chained and guarded as some kind of a relic, something that seems quite important? Looks like there is smoke emanating from the bottom of it. Some people have said that they think that this is an incense burner, as indicated by the smoke coming out of it. If you look at the close-up of this, when I was looking through all these elements to see if they were hieroglyphics, to see if it was an Egyptian killer, you could see these markings on this, the thing that I'm calling the incense burner at this point, just look like a pattern of crosses. So I don't know what to make of that. It speaks incense burner to me. Now, some people have said, well, they said they'd never do anything religious. I don't believe that they ever said they would never do anything religious. I always said that I never believed they would do anything that had any religious connotation, because this being a worldwide game, you wouldn't want to make it look like you favor one religion over another. So I don't know. It's entirely possible that this could be religious themed, a temple. Hey, maybe it's even the cult of the entity temple. Who knows? Right now, it speaks of Western religion to me. So that's as far as I can get out of this. So is King gonna actually get his medieval knight? Are we gonna have a Knights of the Templar, either survivor or killer? So like the Knights of the Templar protecting this temple? Is the knight gonna run around and chase you in armor? I don't know. It sure is exciting. I know a lot of other people think that this looks religious themed, and that means that it's gonna be the Nun Valak from the Conjuring series. If you watch The Nun, that movie actually takes place in 1952, so that goes against the theory of the oldest killer. However, Valak is not a creation of the Conjuring people. Valak is actually like a demon who tries to go after religious figures, and this creature goes back to like the 1650s. So Valak actually as a concept would be public domain, and they wouldn't even it wouldn't even have to be licensed, I suppose, unless you went with that. You're actually going to make it look like the nun. But the concept of Valak is a very old one. So I think we can safely assume that this is an image of the new map. Whether it's going to be a completely indoor map or part indoor and outdoor like the Ormond Resort Chalet remains to be seen. Either way, I'm going to be happy. I think it looks pretty cool from this as a temple or a ruin, whatever this is. I can't wait to see it, as I similarly can't wait to see the whole new chapter. As far as survivor speculation, it's always hard to go on pictures of the map for the survivor. We just have no idea. Typically, there isn't a strong connection between the survivor and the killer. The last chapter, Jeff actually had a connection to Legion, so who knows? Maybe they're changing that and they will tighten up connections between survivors and killers. We don't even know if this chapter is original or licensed at this point. More information to follow. I'm super excited to see what's going to happen. There are some people who think that this is going to be a Vigo and Benedict chapter. I'm not entirely certain if that's the case or not. I do think we will get a Vigo / Benedict Baker chapter at some point, that they will turn the lore into an actual chapter. I got the personal feeling that they want to draw out the lore story through events and things like that a little bit longer. So I don't think this is a Vigo and Benedict Baker chapter, but I could be wrong. I know a lot of people were feeling like the last chapter was underwhelming for them. There was a lot of disgruntled people about the Legion. Personally, I don't think the Legion is that bad. Coming from somebody who remembers a time when no one ever played the Wraith, there were always killers who were at the bottom and you wouldn't see them played. Whether Legion is in that mold or not, I don't know. But over the years, we have seen killers who are at the bottom get spruced up, and I think that eventually you're going to see a rework of the Legion chapter to make it more fun to play as and play against. We'll see what happens. I know, like, in life, it's a lot of what have you done for me lately, but just this whole campaign against behavior and because of the last DLC content is frankly quite ridiculous to me. It would be like expecting your sports hero to hit more home runs every year and never backslide, or your favorite musician to put out an album that topped the last one every time they had a release, or your favorite filmmaker to make a movie that was better than the previous one. And eventually you're never going to be able to reach that expectation. You're always going to backslide. And whether or not you think that the Darkness Among Us chapter is behavior backsliding on DLC content, like, I just think you just have to give the company a break, that they can have an underwhelming chapter. Like, nobody's going to be able to continuously top themselves. It's just impossible. So, I hope that this chapter is received better than the last one was. I think we all are hoping for that. So that's what I have for you today. Of course, we all know that I am completely wrong. To paraphrase the words of Matthew Cote, you got a lot of things wrong, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. And yeah, that's kind of the way I am. So I'm optimistic. I'm hyped. I can't wait to see the next chapter. I hope we get more info soon and I can discuss even more about the new chapter with all of you before the PTB comes out. And I look forward to the PTB, as I'm sure all of you do as well. All right. Take care of each other out there in the fog. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.